Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and when I tell you, girl, this video is by request. Y'all want to see the tea on these Lunar beauty palettes. Holy crap, I have gotten so many messages and requests and like comments and just everywhere from Instagram to Twitter to like the comments of every video. Y'all are like, where's our video? And you guys, here's the deal. I had so many questions about blendability. Are they patchy? How does the formula compare to his last palette? What about this? What about that? What do you think of the lipsticks? Are they comfortable? And there were just so many questions involving like the formulation and the blendability, and there were so many aspects that I really wanted to get to sit with and live in these products for a little while and then kind of come to you and say, look, this is what I think, this is how they wear, this is this and that. And I just wanted to have a lot of information because you guys had so many questions about it that I wanted to be able to answer it. So we are going to be diving into this collection today. This is of course the Lunar Beauty launch, their holiday launch, and this is the brand by Manny MUA if you are not familiar. He is a big old beauty guru here on the wonderful U of Tube. He has like 5 million subscribers. Now we are going to go ahead and get started with the eyeshadow palette, but you guys, aren't these so cool? They're like the inverse of each other. I just love that. I think that it's like such a cool cohesive way to like keep a line together, but they're different so you can tell them apart. And like the highlight is white. Get it? Because it's like a highlight. I don't know if that's why, but I just love it. And I love that he chose to go very simple with this. Like it's one graphic, it's well done, it's raised, the detail is beautiful, even like on the snakes themselves and her hair. It's just a beautiful, well done, but like simple individual graphic, and I like that. Now all of that aside, we're going to talk about this palette because guys, the actual construction of it is beautiful. This is a nicely weighted, hefty palette. It doesn't feel cheap or chintzy. I like the overall, it has like a nice soft touch feel to it, which is nice. Again, nothing's overdone, but everything is well done, if that makes sense. It's very quality-esque, and I think that this is one of those moments where when you pick something up, if it immediately feels quality, you're like, oh, okay, like I'm interested, and it kind of keeps me going like right on to the next step. So when you open it up, there is a full-size mirror right here, which is a beautiful mirror. I also, as a personal touch, love that these palettes do flip all the way around, which is very handy. I prefer to hold my palettes like this, and then of course if you're traveling or you need a mirror, you can hold it as well. And did I mention that I can fit my big ass face right in this mirror, guys? That is one of my favorite things whenever I'm dealing with any mirror in any palette. I want to be able to see my face, my whole face, in my reflection. Like I don't want to just be able to see like half my eyeball, because that's like, no, there's not enough room. I need to really get to see the whole scape that I'm working with. And I love that this mirror is large and in charge, and the girl overall is a beef sickle. Okay, so all of Big Bertha's like sexual beef sickle qualities aside, let's go ahead and dive into the actual swatches of the shadows in here. Guys, this is so stunning. Like the shimmers swatch beautifully. I love it. I have like, obviously they're beautiful. The formula is great, but the mattes in here, they stole my heart on a whole nother level. I have been working with these mattes so consistently, and just overall, like if I'm being honest, I've reached for this palette a ton in the last 2 weeks. What I love about it is the mattes in here are not just like your simple everyday crease color. They are so rich in pigment. They layer beautiful, but they also sheer out. And what that means for somebody like me is I can use these, even the mattes, all over the lid, and they build up to full opacity, and they don't ever look like patchy. They're not clingy. They layer with shimmers and glitters very, very nicely, so they're not like grabbing where they shouldn't grab. They don't get funky. They don't start to ball up. Like the pigmentation just stays so beautiful and so even. But then at the same time, if there's a shade in here that I really, really love that I want to sheer out, I can go in with less of it. And one of the shades that I did that with actually was Aphrodite, which is this beautiful like burnt purple kind of shade up here. It is such a beautiful silky ass color, and I love working with this because when I first started, it was like, oh, this is an outer V color, it's gonna do its thing, it's gonna be beautiful. One day I was like, you know what would be great is if I could work that through my crease and have it just be like an even all over kind of color, but I don't want it to be so dense. I wanted to just kind of flame it out and have just like a dusting of this purple color. And I loved that, like, look at that pigmentation you get even after you go in with just a tiny amount and then really blend it out. These matte shades are so workable in how you can use them to build them up, blend them out, and really just decide where you want that color. And I really just wanted to make sure that I touched on that because I think there's a lot to be said for a matte formula that can do all of those things, that can build up, that can sheer down, that can go on like bam, right from the beginning, one swipe and be super beautiful, but also doesn't cause any type of disturbance. And we've worked with a lot of matte shades, especially on my channel, that they're not so emollient, or that they are very, they're very rich in pigment, but they don't have more than that facet. Like they'll be very, it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like you have like this guy, right? And he's like real rich. He's got lots of money. He's real fancy, okay? But like, that's all he's got. He's very one-trick pony. He's not exciting. He's not great. He's not sweet. He doesn't give that money away. He's not philanthropic. He's just rich. Like, that's all he has. And it's kind of like that. You know, we've worked with shadows in the past that are very rich in pigment, but like, that's it. They don't have any special powers. Like, they can't build up. They can't shear down. They can't give that color away. They don't lend it to your crease. They don't build up well on the lid. They don't handle glitter glue. And that's what I love about these shades, guys. At the end of the day, like, they have that money, they have that sexy pigmentation, but like, they share it, they give it away. They're like, oh yeah, we want to build on the lid, we want to sheer out, we want to do all these things. And they're just so versatile. They're that guy. He's going with you to all the parties with your family, and he's like, yes, I can charm your family. And then later on, he's like, I can hang out with your friends. And then later on, when it's just the two of you, he like knows everything you love. And he's that guy, and that is these pigments. Yes, so I'm gonna stop talking now. We are going to go ahead and actually dive into the palette. We're going to create an eye look. I'm not sure what I'm in the mood for, because I'm not gonna lie, my eyes kind of feel swollen and puffy, but I keep looking in the mirror and they're not. So I don't know. I'm not really like feeling anything in particular. I just want to dive into these shades, show you what I love about them. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna prime these lids, and we're gonna use the Eden Urban Decay Primer Potion. This is one of my faves, girl. Love it so much. Now guys, the reason that I love this primer so much is this is like that ideal concealer but eyeshadow primer all in one. So if you're like me and a lot of concealers do not work for priming your lids because you're super oily or super textured up there, that is totally fine. This is such a great primer. I love it a lot. Like, I've been using this for probably 2 years now. I used to use their regular, actually this one, because I have it. This guy right here, the original eyeshadow primer potion, the purple one, and I used to use that one a ton. Like, it was my go-to constantly. And when I found this one and it looked like concealer and it canceled out all my veiny eyelidedness, I was like, girl, this is my life. This is my dream right here. This is what I've been living for. Yes, and so I've never stopped using it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to set that down with my Maybelline Fit Me in 05 Fair, and then we're going to move on to the palette. Yes, we are, girl. We're going to move right on to that palette. Yes. Now the first place I want to get started is the shade Ray right here, and we're going to be taking this on a Morphe E17 brush, and I'm taking a much smaller brush than normal to kind of start this work right in the crease region, because this shade has got so much pigment, just like the rest of the mattes, that as long as you go in and you apply them, like, look at that, literally barely touch my eye. Guys, these shades are so rich, like, they do not play around. So I'm just going to take this color, place it down, and I still haven't dipped back in. Like, this color is just so rich in pigment that you can work with it and blend it out, and oh my god, like, look at how, oh god, I love this shade. I've been working with this shade a lot. Like, well, truth be told, I've been working with this whole palette a lot, but this is one of my favorite shades because it's magical. Like, it's this color right now, and it looks like a beautiful light crease color, which is great. Go in, grab just a little bit more, I'll even tap it off, and then, like, boom, you build it up, and you have, like, a super rich-ass, beautiful, warm brown crease color, outer V, like, lash line. I don't know, this is just one of those colors for me that you can do so much with, but I do find that control, because these are so rich in pigment, is key. So make sure you always keep control of all the shadow. Again, smaller brushes are best when you're working with a richer pigment, in my opinion, because it really helps you keep the color nice and tight to wherever you want it to go. Okay, so I went ahead and I moved you guys in. I'm obsessed with this color. Look at the blend. It just like what color? It's seamless. So now we're going to grab the Morphe Y15 brush, and we are going to dip into the shade Artemis, which is this shade right here, and we are going to start working that on the outer edges. I did go ahead and swatch those two shades because I feel like in the pan they look very similar, but when you take them out you can see they are very different toned. So this is the one we already have in the crease. We're going to blend out the edges just a tiny bit with this shade because I want like a really nice kind of blown out effect with that brown undertone warmth. But the shade we originally went in with is a little cooler, so it just adds a little bit of warmth and again just diffuses those edges a little bit. And I'm going in with a very small amount of this shade because again, the pigmentation, girl, she does not play. Like, look at, bam, like it's already done. You go in with a little bit, blend it out, and it's over. Like, these are so easy to work with. Now next up, I'm going to grab a Morphe M456 brush, and I'm going to grab the shade Harmonia, which is this beautiful mustard yellow. Y'all know that's like one of my favorite shades. Like, if I have a palette that doesn't have a mustard yellow, I'm like, who am I? Like, oh, I'm sorry. Did I piss you off, camera? I'm really sorry about that. But when I have a palette that doesn't have one, I'm like, that's really rude. So we're going to take this, again, nice small brush, and we're going to work on putting this up into this area. Guys, this is one of those shades you want to go in with a very little amount if you're working up in this area, because she will build on herself so fast. I've used this as like a through and through crease color before, and she gets so deep and sexy. For a mustard yellow, girl, she's carrying some color with her. Guys, the shimmers in here, I'm going to take the shade Era. Let me just show you. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this shade. Let me swatch, like, how do you not love it? I swatched it over this one because I wanted to like compare the two, but how beautiful is that color? And then a little bit of Athena. Oh, Athena, girl, Athena is my bitch. Look at that Athena shade. Look at how sexy. One of my favorite shades in this palette. I'll talk more about it later, but like, I think we need a shimmer lid. Don't you think we need? I think we need a shimmer lid. And I think to do that, how do I want to work this? I think I'm going to grab my Too Faced glitter glue right here, and I'm going to throw this on with my finger, and I'm just going to pat it on the lid. Now, this is something that, again, I say this in every video, you don't have to do. I have a very difficult time getting anything to stick to my lids for longer than 10 minutes. So I like to go in with a glitter glue, but his shimmers are so rich in pigment by themselves that if you don't have that problem, if things stick to yours with concealer or whatever your normal base is, you'll be just fine. Go ahead and go in, because his are very easy to work with. But I'm just going to take that shade on my finger over top of that glitter glue, and I'm going to press her down. Oh my God, I love this shade. Such a beautiful crisp ass gold shade. Now you definitely can leave it right here. I'm going to grab another Morphe M456 brush, and there's no product on it. I just want to blend and buff the edges of that shimmer, which these blend beautifully, especially when you're just blending them into like the crease right here. If you don't want there to be any sort of a harsh edge, that will blend right out, and you're just left with like a beautiful veiling of shimmer. Now I'm going to go back in with the original crease color, the shade Ray, on that same Morphe E17 brush, and I am going to pack on just a little bit of that color to the outer V here, just to make sure that part stays nice and deep, because I don't want to lose that depth of color. Now I'm going to grab the matte black shade in here, and I'm going to very, very lightly with a Morphe M506 brush, and I am going to put this shade right out here and very lightly work it in a small circular motion. I want to veil this area in a very light matte black, but I don't want it to be very opaque. I want it to look like I just added a deeper matte brown right there. And because his shades are so blendable in this damn palette, you can really work, and like I was telling you guys before, they're very easy to build up or sheer out. So in this case, I want to work on shearing it out a little bit and just working it in with the other matte brown shades, and just building up this outer V ever so slightly. And this is definitely not something you have to do if you don't want like a super intense, super deep, dark outer V area. If you'd rather keep it really light and a little bit more airy, you can feel free to do that as well. I just wanted to show you guys what I was talking about when I was mentioning the whole how buildable and like blendable, but also how well you can shear them out. I wanted to kind of highlight for you in case it was like a little bit, in case it didn't make sense with just words. I wanted to show you what the hell I was talking about. You know what I mean? So next up, I am going to grab the shade Athena. This is my favorite shade in the palette. I'm obsessed with this color. I think it is the most beautiful, poppy, vampy shimmer shade. The undertone, the opacity, everything about this color. Literally, I would love to have a giant highlighter size of this. I've highlighted with this. It's a beautiful color. And I'm going to take and I'm going to pop this right on in the inner area right here. Now, I didn't put down any additional glitter glue or anything, and just look at it. Like, oh my God, it is so beautiful. I'm just going to take with my finger and kind of work that into this inner area real quick. Just a little bit of a veiling moment over top of that gold, just to give me a little bit more dimension. And just with my finger kind of work it out. Super, super blendable. Now, just like half the other colors I've added, do we need to add this next one? No, but I'm going to anyways. I'm going to grab the shade Celine, which is this beautiful copper shimmer. Again, so stunning. I'm just going to take a little bit of that, pop it back here near the outer V, because look at how beautifully it pairs with those colors. Oh my God, I love that color so much. Again, this is a super buildable, workable shimmer, and I love this color for the lower lash line. It looks so freaking like wha-bam and intense, but like you sheer it out, you blend it out, and it's like, ooh, she's mysterious. She's got some sparkle. She has some pizzazzle to her. Like, it's just such a workable copper shimmer. I love it so much. Like, I've gotten so much use out of this shade. And then I just like to take that Morphe Y15 brush and kind of blend everything through the crease. Now, I wouldn't want to be rude, and I'm going to take that shade Athena, and I'm just going to like pop it up in my brow bone. A very unassuming shade. Oh wait, just kidding. Look at that highlight. Oh my god, guys, I love this color so much. Go back in with a little bit of that matte mustard yellow shade on that same Morphe M456 and just blend that mustard in with that highlight shade. You guys know I just always love to blend this area a little bit extra. Make sure the brow bone highlight and this upper crease color all come together. I don't think we understand. I don't think the camera can properly pick up the literal seamless transition from all those colors to the next. Like 1 to 1 to 1, doesn't matter where you're looking. It's just seamless and so good looking. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going to do the other eye and maybe the rest of my face, and I will stop back on and we're gonna keep talking about this collection because girl, I am not done. Okay guys, I went ahead, I got the rest of my face all finished up, and if I do say so myself, I love the way that this look turned out. Now, I did go ahead, obviously, finish up the eyes. That's where I want to go ahead and start with you guys first. So I went and I started with the shade Nemesis, which is that blue shimmery shade in the palette, and I wanted to still play with it because I know it's such a beautiful bright pop of color in this palette, but I didn't want it to be like the whole look, the overall aesthetic I was going for. So I took it and I ran it with a slighter, shorter, kind of fluffy, stubby brush on the lower lash line. And one of the reasons that I love this color so much on the lower part of the eye is that you are able to sheer it out and get a beautiful bright pop of blue, but the more you layer, the more you can get that beautiful blue, bright blue reflect to kind of exist on the lower lash line. But because you're putting it down there with a fluffy brush, you're able to kind of disperse it and make it dance around a little, which I love. I just think it's a beautiful pop moment. And then on the inner portion of the eye, I did grab the shade Athena just to give me a little bit of brightness. And then I went ahead on the lower lash line as well, and I wanted to play around with that waterline color. Loving that blue moment, I thought maybe we would kind of emphasize that a little bit more. So I took the bright Marc Jacobs shade in Out of the Blue, ran that into the lower waterline, and I was like, okay, it's nice. I want a little more depth. So on the outer V, I took the shade Overnight, which is a deeper matte blue. And then on the inner portion of the eye, I grabbed the Maybelline Superstay eyeliner just in the white shade, just to really open everything up and give it that whole brightness that we keep trying to get from shimmer to this to that, because when I go in with blues, it can get very overwhelming very quick. But once I added those 3 liners, it was mascara, and then we were done. I didn't want to do lashes. I know a lot of you are probably sick of me not wearing lashes at this point, but guys, I'm just not into it right now. Like, I went through a phase where I wouldn't not wear lashes, and right now I'm like, my eyelashes are looking fly. Why would I mess with that? Like, I don't mind. I still think it looks stunning. Yes, lashes are great. They look beautiful, but if you're not into a boo, do you? You don't have to wear them. I talk about that all the time on my channel. I think that there is a very unreal expectation in the beauty community right now where nothing looks good unless it's with lashes, and I'm here to tell you that's a load of horse hockey. So that is the completed eye look. Again, I love the way that that turned out. I love the way that these colors blended together and the way that that blue shimmer shade is able to like pack down onto the lid. And that's actually what this is from. I was playing around with it because I wanted to see if I would be able to get the effect I was going for. And the one thing I love about it, like I was talking about before, is that this shade, when you go to pack it all over the lid, again, the more obvious choice, that's how people would typically wear it, you do get like this beautiful, intense, reflected blue moment that all over the lid is so stunning. But what I was looking for was more like that hot little like that little bit of blue, but not an overbearing blue. It's nothing that I would have wanted to take a matte blue, which would have like a ton of pigment. I wanted just like that light little veil of sparkle cuteness. And that is definitely something you can get with that shade when you sheer it out and just get like the little glimmers of blue sparkles, which I love. So overall, my thoughts on this palette, if you can't tell yet, I really love this, guys. Like, I know it's $48, so it is a little bit on the pricier side, but I think for the pigmentation, the amount of product, the overall usability of this palette and the way that it's presented, the mirror, like everything about it is very luxe in my opinion, and I think that for the price point, it's actually not that bad. I know if you break it down per shadow, it could be a little pricey depending on what like your preferred price points are, but as far as overall what you get, how much it is, the product, all of that, this is such a home run for me. I have been using it non-stop over the last, God, probably 2 or 3 weeks ever since I got it. Whenever he released it, I received it maybe 3 or 4 days after that, roughly, and I've been using it constantly. I find that these colors blend on top of everything. They work so well with other glitters, other glues, other palettes, other shimmers, doesn't matter. I've really been putting this to the test just to test that formulation, because at first I almost had like a too good to be true, like that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna be duped by you. I thought like maybe if I get a little farther down in these mattes, they're gonna start getting chunky. Maybe if, no, just no. The answer is no across the board. I love this palette. I've had no issues, not one with it. Overall, really beautiful. Now after that, we are diving into the highlight palette. This does come with 6 different shades in them. These are a beautiful arrangement. You have everything from the shade Harpy, which is the first shade in the palette. It's kind of that more duochromy type highlight, very bright, a little glitter, a little micro in there, but for the most part, just slightly like yellow duochrome, which if that's your aesthetic, totally fine. A lot of times I'll use that shade to hit the tops of the cheekbones, give me a moment there just to brighten everything up. As far as the other shades, you do have like a beautiful gold, you have deeper tones, you have pinky tones. My shade that I use on my skin is the shade Medusa, and that's the one that works the best for my skin tone without casting like weird colors or like throwing weird shades on my face. You know how sometimes if you look at someone and the highlight is just off a little, it'll cast gray or something? That's the shade in this palette for me that doesn't do anything, and it just goes on from the beginning, and it's a perfect color. So most of the other ones are just too deep, or the hues are just off a freckle, or I don't use the shade Phoenix. Like that's a pinky highlight. I've used it as a really light blush before. Super beautiful. But as far as the other, it's like, you know, those just aren't my tones. They don't work for me, but I've said this 1,000 times. In a palette like this, it's designed to work for everyone, not just yo ass. So be happy that there is a palette that will actually work for multiple skin tones. Now I am going to skip over real quick to the actual formulation of these, because I think that that's something whenever it comes to a highlight, especially if you have skin like mine, which has a ton of texture, a ton of emphasized area, you want to know exactly what these are going to be like when they apply. And because that's my biggest concern, like anytime I see a highlight, I'm like, oh girl, what you got going on up in there? Because like it could go real bad real fast, you know what I mean? So I wanted to really take some time and put these to the test to see how workable they were. And what I will tell you is that if you have worked with any type of a highlight that is like the Dose of Colors highlight, if you've worked with anything that is like a thicker, I'm trying to think of my thicker formulaed highlights that feel a little like, they're not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they almost feel like they have that oil base, that thicker feel to them. Those tend to, at least on my skin type, emphasize my texture just a little bit, but his is at an in-between stage where it's not so emphasizing that I can't fix it, but it's also not like refined and perfect like the Hourglass. Like the Hourglass ones, we all know those go on like butter. They sit into my skin and it's like, does she even have pores? Like Hourglass, I have no pores. But then when we switch over to the other side of like texture where it's really thick, or it feels like more of an oil base type highlight, those tend to emphasize my texture. And if I'm looking at that spectrum, I feel like his is sitting somewhere in here. So it's definitely a ways away from that refined side, but it's, you know, it's not as unworkable as some other highlights I've used. Now for me, the way that I'm able to make his work is actually by going in and doing a lot of steps that I normally do, but I have to press it in. So I go in, I spray whatever my setting spray is. Today I used the Urban Decay setting spray all over the skin. I let that really sink in. I went in with this shade on one side, with the Medusa shade. I worked it in there with just a regular highlight brush, nothing fancy, no pressing at this point. And on the other side, I also wanted to show you that from the palette, I used the shade Athena, which I love that shade. I told you guys I've highlighted with it. It is so beautiful. And I put that on the other cheek just to kind of show you the difference. And I think they're both very reflective, but the Athena shade from the palette does sit nicer into my skin than the highlight, which I think kind of reinforces that overall feel that I was getting from the, you know, I think the other one just has maybe a little more oil or something in it that makes it a little thicker. But nonetheless, from there I went ahead, resprayed my entire face one more time with that Urban Decay spray, and then I went in, like usual, with my Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. And what this does is it kind of helps release and push everything together. Now, normally, if I go in with a highlight that works perfectly on my skin and it's at all ideal, it'll do it by itself. However, when it's a thicker highlight like this, all I have to do is take my beauty sponge when my face is still damp with that Tatcha spray and go in and lightly press my sponge over my textured areas with that highlight and really work to press them in. It's It's one extra step. Do I think it's worth it? Yes, because I think this is a beautiful highlight. For me, the only problem I end up having in the end, like at the end of the day or near the end of the day with highlights like this, is they do tend to be one of the first areas on my skin that show wear, that really start to show the length of the day. So I think that that's something to keep in mind if you have textured skin. I think the highlight, like the palette itself, is beautiful. Everything that applied to that eyeshadow palette does apply to this. It's beautiful. It's hefty. She's a beefy girl. She has a beautiful mirror. Like the looks and the presentation of it is still fantastic. I want to make sure that I say that. The pan sizes in here are absolutely amazing. Again, product is great, very reflective, but if you have textured skin, something to be on the lookout for is that situation right there. But do I think it's a great palette? Do I think it's worth it? Yes. I believe this is like, what, 40 bucks? Yes, this is $40, and again, it is in that bundle, still available on their website with the eyeshadow palette for $75, which I personally, I do think it's a great buy. I think it's something you would get a lot of use out of. If you don't want to spend the money on all of it and you're like, hey, what's something from the collection I could pick up out of these two things? The eyeshadow palette, because I feel like there's a lot of use in it, but I just keep being drawn back to this palette and how amazing it is and like the quality and the blendability. So both are good. This is definitely my favorite. Now, we're going to move on to lips, because girl, you know I'm wearing it right now. Yes, 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 yes. I was wearing actually yesterday on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram and Twitter, why not? Number one. Number two, they're both listed down below. You should be following me because I talked in depth about his red liquid lipstick, which is the shade Aphrodite. I wore this yesterday. I freaking love this color. So he came out, let me just back up here because I get too excited. I know. He came out with the shade Aphrodite, the shade Zaya, and then a gloss in the shade Saline. And the reason that I love these so much, A, the aesthetic, B, the wearability of these, the way that they sit on the lips is so stunning. The color is like one swipe coverage. Love that. Now, I also love on the liquid lipsticks and on the gloss, all the packaging is the same. So it's beautiful rose gold detailing. You can see a little bit of the color peeking out the bottom. They have like the diamond studded detailing at the top that's under the cap, enclosed, luxurious. It looks like a little scepter. She is a cute bitch. I love it. And then the applicator on the liquid lipsticks, oh my God, I love it. It's like a long ass doe foot. It is like a size 10 men's doe foot. And I'm telling you, it is my queen. I love that thing. It gets down in there, guys, and I just kind of, and I like get in the sides and I'm like, and before I know it, it's like so fine tipped and so perfect. I love, okay, I cannot stress that enough, this formula. Now I am going to go ahead and focus on the liquid lipsticks for just a second. I do find that the formula for these, very nice. It doesn't dry down. It's not transfer resistant. So if you're the type of person that you need a little more comfort and you need to layer your products, these are great for that. These you can put like a little bit of lip gloss or a little bit of balm or something underneath. Put these on. It doesn't affect how these wear. It doesn't affect how these look. It doesn't affect the opacity, and it's very comfortable. These do not, however, like I said, dry down. So they're more of a comfort matte, if you will. Like they don't dry down, they don't immediately slough off, they don't rub all over your face, but they're definitely not transfer resistant. So they're my favorite type of formula like this, because I hate the kind that they dry down and they suck the moisture out of your freaking face. Like I can't get down with that. It is not my jam. And I just love this formula for that reason. Now these liquid lipsticks are $18 a piece. The gloss is $17, and I don't shoot the messenger, okay? But the shade I'm wearing, which is Zaya, love this shade. This guy right here, it is sold out. I know. Paige, why talk about it? What are you doing? Well, I'm going to show you some colors I have that are similar. By the way, one swipe, so stunning. Like, I don't even want to waste this color, so I'm just gonna, this is the only swatch I'm doing. Other than the ones I already inserted, this is all you're gonna get, because girl, I'm not wasting it. I love this color so much, but oh my God, I have a love affair with it. I did go ahead, like I said, and I found a couple other colors that are similar that I thought I could show you, just, you know, if you're wondering if you have them in your collection, whatnot. So first up, I'm going to use the Too Faced Melted Matte, and this is in the shade Hot Buttered Rum. And again, I don't know if I said this or not, but the feel, the texture, the opacity of anything else I'm about to show you, these are not the same in that respect. These are just the same in color or similar in color, because I was trying to find a couple of dupes. dupes. So that is this guy right here. You can see it's obviously a different undertone, but that is this guy. And then what else do I have? Because girl, I picked up a couple. Ooh, yes, yes. This is the Dose of Colors, the Mickey Mouse collab, which I did the whole video actually on this, which I will link up there. And this is in the shade Forever. So it's just a regular bullet style lipstick. I'm going to swatch this one right over here. So that is right there. Ooh, I love this color too. This is a good one. And then I also have Kim K Nude number 6, which I'm going to swatch right over here. Love Kim K's lipsticks. That is right over here. And then last but not least, I threw in the Laura Lee Los Angeles lipstick in the shade Jaybird because it is another nude brown, and this is actually another formula that I quite like. So I'm going to try to throw this one up here a little bit. And I grabbed this one too because the undertone is different, but I wanted to have like a cool tone undertone, a warmer, a nuder. Like I wanted to have multiple undertones. So while hers is a lot more what I would say cool tone than this one, the actual saturation of the color is the same. So I just wanted to have a few options, again, one with each a different undertone, so that way you could kind of see that the world is not over. I'm sorry Zaya is sold out. It is honestly truly beautiful, and I'm hoping that if he keeps the same formula, next time they come out I will be purchasing all of them again, because hello, hi. But these are some of the other nudes I had that were similar. Again, they're not the same, but they're similar. And yeah, now we're going to go ahead and, ooh, it's time to talk about the gloss. Okay, oh, girl, the gloss. I'm wearing the gloss right now. Let me tell you, this gloss is so beautiful. The shade Saline, I always forget what it's called. The reason I love this, okay, so it's a gloss. I'm like, okay, whatever. You're a gloss. You're not that great. Except you are. Do you know why? Little tiny micro glitters that are gold, like they almost look slightly like there could be a couple pink micro glitters in there. This reflex on the lips, I'm wearing it a little bit over top of Zaya right now. This has such a beautiful reflection to it. The gloss is like a clear gloss with the micro glitter in it, but that clear gloss formula has shine by itself. Okay, so that's number one. Then you get like a little micro glitter moment, or glitter moment, I'm sorry. You get a little glitter moment in there. That's shine too. But what makes it really shiny is that it's micro glitter in that clear gloss. You put the two together and it's just like whoosh, it reflects the light so beautifully. I have worn this so much. I actually had to take this out of my purse because I've been using it as a like center pop for everything. I love the way that this sits. Now the applicator on this is a big old nice paddle, and I love it because it's nice and wide. It gets perfectly up toward like the Cupid's bow area if you like to really take your gloss up there. Great shape for that. Great shape for this like little boop boop right here, which is what I did today over top of the shade Zaya, and I love this gloss. I think the lip products are so nice, so comfortable. I've been wearing both of them a lot, which when I get new lip products, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't often get to just like sit and live in the same ones over and over because I have to constantly try new ones, and I'm constantly going in between formulas and drying this and not too drying, and oh, is this one, what is it, is this Luxe? Like there's so many things. And then when you add a gloss in the mix, bitch, I have so many glosses. I actually have glosses that look very similar to this one, and I continue to reach for this one. And that's what I wanted to get to, the place where, do I use this a lot? Is it nice? Do I like it enough that it's really worth delving into? And yes, it is. I really believe so. I actually pulled both of these palettes out of the little area that I keep by my vanity, which is current products I'm testing. And at this point, I'm not testing it anymore. I'm just using it all the time. So that for me speaks everything I need to know. And I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys to get across everything, every facet. And you know, this is one of those moments where a lot of you are very grateful for the fact that my detailed reviews are so detailed. And I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it gave you all the info you need to make an informed purchase. And you guys, that is it for today's video. As I said before, please do not forget to check out down below in the description. I have my Instagram and my Twitter linked, and you should also subscribe while you're down there, by the way, because I put up new videos Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 days a week. We go through reviews, hits, misses, favorites, empties, everything you can imagine. We do it on this channel. And as we go into 2019, we are growing, things are happening, and I'm loving having over 6,000 subscribers. You guys are the actual best. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I think that's it, you guys. Please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Laura Lee's lipstick. I should have known when I swatched you that I was gonna need some Jesus to get you off, because girl, those lipsticks, they wear forever. And that's why I love going, that is why I love going and I sound like an old man with 17 chins. Me looking at everyone when they walk by. So mature. Now I am going to throw this out there. I regret. Okay, I'm literally choking to death. I love the applicator on this as well. It's a nice big old flat paddle, like the thank you sir, may I have another paddle? It's like that big old paddle, big old spank me booty paddle. Wait, what? And there's been so many. No. How many times have we had like a really beautiful, super rich in pigment matte shade, or any shade for that matter, especially like on my channel, myself in person, if you, which by the way, great man theory. What? I've said this so many times, but if can't, no. Okay guys, I went ahead, I got the rest of my face all finished up. I got the rest of my face. Cause girl, your highlights and everything, they just gotta be blended. Everything needs to be blendy. Blendy and bendy, cause we all like some fun. Some fun? Who are you?